meeting with Bright Bean Corporation. It's a service provider of automotive maintenance care and services. The owner of Rapidi Automotive Service Center. And the owner of Rapidi is also a service provider for Shell. So what we're aiming now is to sign a contractual agreement to supply with them our machinery.
You're free. Okay.
Ang stand po namin ngayon is that our approach is top and bottom and top. Meaning to say, we're dealing with the service provider and we're hoping that you as a people's organization, identified under Republic Act 8749, which is Clean Air Act.
Okay.
You have a very important role in terms of what you can advocate for the people.
Okay.
Ang technology po ito, if you are going to refer it on humans, this is a combination of dialysis, angioplasty, and edema into one. Sa Tagalog, ang pagdadialysis, ang paglalabatiba, at pagpapaluwag ng tubo ng ating puso into one. Kasi po, itong makina na ito, ang loob ng makina nito, it has a solution, 26-gallon solution, na ito po ay pumapasok sa loob ng makina at 40 PSI. Tinatanggal niya po doon lahat ng mga carcinogenic, toxic, particulate matter sa loob. Yung pong mga carcinogenic, toxic materials na yon, slowly ibinubuga sa langit, and none of us can escape from inhaling that carcinogens. Wala pong nakakaligtas, mahirap ka man o mayaman. Now, for as long as we are dependent on fossil fuel, which will probably be another lifetime sa atin, we can never eradicate carbon emission or carbon monoxide. But there is a technology available through our machine that we can reduce it. Kung mababawasan po natin ang ating nilalanghap na masamang hangin ng at least 50% sa bawat makina, siguro po liliwanag ang ating kalangitan. Ang pandemic showed na nung nawala ang mga sasakyan sa kalsada, lumiwanag ang langit.
Yun nga pala. Yan ang palang positibong ng tanda.
That's a very positive example. Ito po, kung gagawin natin lahat ito as our contribution to save Mother Earth, sa amin pong palagay, ay liliwanag ang ating kalangitan.
Okay.
And even the study of Kyoto Protocol, yun po ay lumabas na 70% of carbon emission are coming from automotive vehicles. So kung tayo po lahat ay nagkakaisa para sa adikain ito, palagay ko ay liliwanag ang ating mundo. Mayroon pang kinabukasan ng ating mga anak, ang ating mga apo. Kasi kung hindi po, maaaring hindi na natin alam yon, but there might be no future for them.
Oo. Very green, very green. Picture. Mhm.
So, yun lang po ang may ano ko sa inyo. And napag-usapan po namin kanina, mayroon na pong batas. Nagawa na po namin ang pamamaraan ng testing. We have invested so much time, so much effort, so much money. But with your help, we can be successful.
Okay. So let's take a break muna.
Sige po.
Lunch break.
Salamat po.
Thank you, thank you.
Hindi natin alam ito noon. Bumili lang tayo ng sasakyan, and hindi natin alam na mayroon pala tayong moral responsibility dyan. Na tayo rin pala ang nagdudumi ng ating kalangitan, ating mundo. Tayo rin ang nagpapasikip ng ating mundo. And on that context, ang gobyerno gumagawa rin ng paraan kung paano sana maituro sa tao. Kaya lang ang tao naman po umiiyak dahil nga sa hirap ng buhay.
Okay.
Ang mahalaga po dito is tinutulungan natin ang tao kung paano hindi mawala sa kanila ang kanilang nabiling asset.
So this is a that's what we are marketing.
Gadget.
Gadget. So gadget.
There is a gadget.
It's an instrumentation po. Kung sasabihin natin, it's an instrumentation.
Okay.
Climate change, 1 billion. NIA has 1 billion, DPWH, maybe more than that. That's from climate change.
For climate change, huh?
Yeah, so for NIA, the project on dissertation being charged doon sa budget na yon, sa climate change budget. So they're procuring dredge.
Dredging, for dredging.
Machines, yes, yeah, charged to that budget. So maybe the agency, sir, ano bang nilalapitan natin agency? Maybe also has the budget coming from climate change.
DOTR.
Yes.
Kasi siguro, let me correct you. What you're trying to do is to institutionalize marketing. That's not what we're after. What we're after is for the people to become responsible themselves. Kasi kung i-institutionalize mo yan, that will become voluntary act on their part. And for as long as sinabi mo mag-volunteer ka, no one will volunteer in this country. And even in the world. Walang mag-volunteer. So useless, halimbawa, dito tayo, we're 8-9 people. May mga sasakyan tayong lahat.
Yeah.
Tatlo lang ang mag-volunteer to treat the engine to reduce carbon emission. Anong mangyayari? Di ba? Ano yung mga ayaw? Ano ang effect nun sa tao? Nothing. So, if we have a unified and in good faith na gagawin natin ang isang bagay, lahat tayo, marirealize natin ang effect. Kasi sayang lang po ang pagod kung gano'n. But if the government has the willpower, ang question mo kasi dito is willpower.
You mandate the use of this.
Ang mas i-correct ko ang word mo, the use is wrong. To patronize the technology, I think that's the most appropriate word.
To patronize yan.
To patronize.
So why don't we, okay, just a suggestion. because right now we're putting oil to our engine, right? Could it become part and parcel of the oil?
No. Don't distance yourself from the procedure and the product. Because you're referring to a product.
Hello.
Ours is as a procedure. Pero
So-
sinabi nito na, okay,
Obran.
Oh,
Nagkaroon ng emergency meeting ang
dapat
KP.
ito ang gabot mo. No, it's not that. This is
Aborted.
an
Aborted
operation,
muna natin.
a service.
Okay.
When will it take place? After or before engine?
Ano?
When will it be applied?
Tension.
Yung pagka-engine dito.
Ano? Teka. Parang tayo. Kapag itinuloy natin ang pag-inom ng alak, araw-araw, nadadamay sa ating kidney. Di ba? So, anong kailangan mo? I-flush mo yung kung ano man yung
Hello,
build ng
Dr.
kidney
Conrad.
mo
Hello.
once a year to prevent future build-up.
Pero 8,000 on top of, ano rin, hindi kasama yung regular.
Hindi po, kasama na po. That's the reason why we're dealing with a private service provider. May bundle namin ang cost into the oil itself. The service is bundling the oil and the oil filter to make it affordable to the people.
Ang concern kasi dito, yeah, is not only the engine to be clean to reduce toxic emission, but the technology has to clean the air by lessening the combustion emitted by any kind of engine.
Okay.
So ang kwan kasi dito, ang primary issue is not only to clean the engine but to clean the air.
That will be the knock-on effect.
Yun ang impact.
Knock-on.
The impact of cleaning the air.
Correct.
In air.
You can see that at the middle of the road. You can see the soup, yeah? You compare that to other countries like Japan. You don't see that.
Kasi,
No?
sasabihin nila,
Kasi introduce
meron tayong emission testing center eh.
Dubai.
May emission testing center, yes. But does it clean the air? Hindi.
Lesson. Introduce. Yan magagawa na. No, you quoted 69%. That's a lot.
Hindi yun kasi kuya test lang yun.
Test lang
Hindi
yun.
siya treatment.
Just to determine.
Ganito yung numbers niya.
Yeah, we
Ang
understand.
70% ng pollution ay coming from vehicles.
True.
30%.
Diesel.
Ngayon, sinasabi rin dito, pag magamit natin ito, it will lessen the pollution by 69%. Ganun eh. Kaya yung kwento kanina, nung pandemic, lumiwanag yung langit. Nung ito, pandemic o walang pandemic, liliwanag yung langit pag ginamit mo ito. No, yung analogy niya eh. Tapos, pag binandal mo yung, kasi separate yung yung pag-treat, pag mag-change oil ka, tatanggalin mo yung old oil, kasi titreat mo siya, after treatment, nalagyan mo siya ng oil. Nasa iyo na yan, kung gamitin mo, konsensya, o petrol. So, separate yung atin.
Kasi ito naman, yung solution is to suppress the emission of carbon dioxide.
It's not suppression,
It
it is a reduction.
Reduction.
Kasi pag sinabi mong suppress, it affects the engine. Reducing it is the perfect word that you can apply. There's no other word applicable to that.
Reducing.
Reducing.
Okay.
Yan naman po ang nakasaad sa batas. Any technology that can reduce carbon emission. Yan po ang hinahanap ng gobyerno.
And do you have a percentage, Anna?
We do.
The percentage, anticipated percentage, when applied, when used.
Nung una, maraming, napag, kuha nila yun, akala nila, yung oil na change kasama dun sa mga produkto, hindi. Our solution is proprietary. Actually, marami nang kumopya ng mga Chinese na hardware. Pag sa computer, may hardware, may software. Marami nang kumopya ng hardware natin. Kaso hindi na makopya yung software, yung solution. Si proprietary siya. Nakopya yung hardware, pero ginagawa
When you say
baksa.
proprietary, you have the patents and copyrights.
Yes.
Aba.
That's
US invention. Okay.
Inventor. Talagang inventor na yung gumawa nito.
The inventor na gumawa.
And that is a threat to testing centers.
I will correct you on that.
Inventor.
I will correct you on that. When you refer to threat, as a matter of fact, we are their ally. Why? The government now has taken initiative to close them because of corrupt practices. And many have lost business and many have lost jobs. The testing center in itself, the government wants to abolish that, being a milking cow of corrupt practices. But if we convert that into a treatment center, they will be back in business. And those people will have a job. Iko-convert lang natin sila. The structure is there.
After the testing, then we recommend the use of this.
Not necessarily po. Kasi, kung mayroon tayong proof or evidence that any test that we have conducted in the past far exceeded that of government standard, then why test first and then treat later? Why not treat
No.
all of us at the same time and worry not about the testing?
If you are going
Hindi, yung
to,
comparative kwan lang naman yun.
Random
Yes.
candidate.
That is a comparative issues between the testing center and the introduction of the new technology.
So when you do testing,
You do the testing,
when you do the trial test, right, so determining the emission before and after, would be to really look at what sort of type of fuel you're going to test. Okay, so you have the diesel, you have the premium, etc., including.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're out of line. Because we're not referring to fuel. We're not treating fuel.
No, it's not about.
We are treating the engine, the inside of the
Yeah,
engine.
but, yeah, true. But if you look at your brochure, it says here to take out the contaminants and sludge, right? So, what fuel create sludge?
Parehas.
Di ba? Ang diesel ang pinakamarami.
Oo, pero ang makina natin,
Yun ang, kaya,
makina natin
nandun
kasi,
yung-
complete po.
Ayun.
Complete po. Oo.
Mm.
Ganito,
The Philippine standard is Euro 4.
Mm.
If you understand what Euro 4 is all about, you would know why they put a grading system in the UK,
Mm.
in Europe.
Exactly.
The Euro 4 stands for 35% sulfur content and diesel.
Mm.
Okay? They're now Euro 7
Mm.
because they have reduced the sulfur content
Mm.
in the diesel because that's carcinogenic.
Oh.
Sure.
We have accepted Euro 4. So we're not treating
Oh.
the fuel.
Mm.
Ours is we are treating the engine so that all those carbon deposits can be removed rather than
Tapos ka na?
stuck there and emitted into the atmosphere slowly to kill us. Yun ang objective natin. So it has nothing to do with fuel. Parang sinabi natin na si Mr. Tan may bato sa kanyang kidney. So ngayon, itong makina nito is an automated version of a doctor. The doctor will remove that stone to prevent another stone building up in you. That this is the procedure. It has nothing to do with what you eat. Because anything you eat, you drink, passes through your kidney. And eventually some of those becomes the stone. We have nothing to do with that. With the kind of food. Ours is plain and simple to prevent anything, any buildup inside the engine that are slowly emitted into the atmosphere. It was emitted in Manila, it landed in Mindanao. And sabi nila, walang effect sa agriculture. It does. Kasi lahat ng mga yan, you don't know where it lands. Ang binibili mong gulay, hindi mo alam galing yan doon. So that's
In the form of carbon
in the
monoxide.
form of
Of
carbon
carbon
monoxide or nitrogen oxide.
Yes, and these are poisonous gases
These are all poisonous gases.
and carcinogenic also.
Absolutely. Now, if you're going to look at it in a wider perspective, how much money the government is spending? Health alone is a huge amount of money. We are trying to prevent the people from getting sick.
So are we introducing a new kind of engine oil?
No,
No.
no.
What we are focusing on is how to clean the internal combustion part of the engine.
The internal gullies of the engine
And
where
the-
we don't see where carbon is being deposited. And
So-
it's slowly emitted.
So the first step would be to change the oil. To change the oil.
Yeah,
No?
definitely.
With whatever kind of oil, no?
Oh.
The
Then
usual one. The usual one.
It becomes part and parcel
Yes,
of the procedure.
So what do we introduce to the engine? Are we
Introducing
making some introducing some additive?
no,
Some
no,
solution.
it's a treatment.
It's a treatment.
It's a flashing
Flashing.
So we are introducing a flashing solution.
Yes.
Are we?
No, hindi po, we are not introducing. We're using the cleaning solution to detoxify. Dinidetox po natin ang makina. Our technology is a combination of a machine and a solution. That's why we refer it to as hybrid. Because it's a combination of a machine and solution.
Being in the media, we have interviewed a lot of those kind of facility, you know. And there are Korean, Chinese also, no? And one thing has been proven that there is no 100% combustion in the engine. There is no 100% combustion of the engine. That is why there is a need to add more oxygen into the combustion engine. Because less than 100% of combustion will have this poisonous.
Leaves behind.
Yes, oh.
Combustion po kasi by scientific definition, combustion is
The
a
burning.
mixture of fuel and air. During the combustion, where it mixes the fuel and the air, and by the aid of a spark, that's where the combustion is.
There is a need for oxygen.
Of course.
Huh?
It's a mixture of fuel and air.
Oxygen,
Yun-
particularly oxygen.
Yun na nga yun. Yung when you refer to air, it's oxygen. Okay? It's a mixture of fuel and air. During the burning process, because it's much quicker than the lightning, during the burning process, it does not burn 100%. It's only 75%. And 25% of that becomes carbon. And those carbon are suspended inside the combustion chamber and even outside of the combustion chamber, and you would even see that even outside of the engine. Those black particulate matters
In the muffler.
in the muffler and everywhere. But primarily in the internal combustion system,
The exhaust
yes,
pipe.
yeah, it got stuck there and it slowly emitted into the exhaust system passing through the muffler, supposedly. But those are just, a muffler is designed only to suppress the sound. It
Right.
does not suppress the carbon.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So all of those are still emitted into the atmosphere.
Ultimately.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
you may have experienced this. May isang sasakyan, nasa North Diversion Road kayo, diesel lang nasa harapan mo, nasa likod ka niya, in the middle of the night, may binubuga na apoy. Hindi po aswang yun. Yun po ay carbon. Na-deposit sa loob, ibinubuga, at ikaw na nakasunod, pinapatay ka niya ng dahan-dahan na hindi mo alam. Yan po ang piniprevent natin. Those deposits, we are trying to prevent from building up. So, from day one, this is an education process. Through this treatment procedure, dahil marami pa tayong sasakyan dito, mas matanda pa siguro sa tatay ko, gumagana pa rin sa kalsada. We will help them to treat them at para mawalan, hindi sila mawalan ng kanilang nabiling ari-arian. Okay? Yan po, this is for the poorest of the poor. Itong technology na ito.
So, two things pala, no? Additive, no?
No, wala.
Walang additive.
There's no additive.
Cleansing.
Cleansing. So, how do you...
Flashing.
flashing pala. It's a flashing formula, no? And the other one is the hardware.
The hardware.
What? How do you describe how this hardware functions?
Ito po. Okay, this is an engine. Let me get for me to have it prepare.
40 PSI, malakas yun. 40 PSI,
Tas
sinasabi
mainit
na
pa.
malakas yun, oo.
Oy, pressure ng hangin yun eh.
Pinapressure niya papasok.
Dahil...
Ito po ay makina.
Ah.
Okay, nakikita niyo po yan. Ito pong pulang hose na ito, mayroon po kaming adapter. These are all adapters. Adapter po ito. Nakakonect po ito sa oil filter. Sa kabila po niya, itim po yan. Okay? Yung itim na yan, nakakabit doon sa drain plug. Ito po yung kanyang mga adapter. Ang load po nito is 26 gallon solution. Wala pong pinagkaiba sa ginagawa sa atin na labatiba. Ang makina po nilalabatiba namin. Tatanggalin namin ang lahat ng dumi sa loob. Ito po ay filter.
Filter.
Mayroon pong filter yan. 1 micron filter. Sa loob po nito, may isang 3 micron filter. Ang regular oil filter na nakakabit sa sasakyan mo is 10 micron filter. So, anything lesser than 10 micron, yan po, it rubs in the sleeves ng iyong piston. It rubs in the sleeves. Yan po ang sumisira. Okay? And because of this sira na to, during combustion, yung areas na yan, na dinaanan niya na sira, kinakapitan niya ng carbon. And slowly, kung bakit umiitim ang langis ng iyong makina. Right?
Right.
Because of what is called wear and tear. Okay? Now, through the lifespan ng iyong motor oil, which is called viscosity, through that lifespan niya, maitim yan and slowly because kailangan niyang ilabas, otherwise mawawala na ng power ang makina mo, ini-emit yan through the exhaust system. And yan ay nilalanghap natin lahat. So, in reality, this is a technology that is beneficial to each and every vehicle owner. And nakakatawa po, ang acronym ng aming procedure is called Hybrid Environmental Automotive Rehabilitation Treatment, which stands for HART.
Hard to.
Ang puso po ng isang sasakyan.
Tama.
Ano po ang puso ng sasakyan?
Makina, makina.
There you go.
Maganda yung solution na yan. Kaya lang, we're thinking of how we could partner with the emission centers. As you said, the emission centers in our country are earning by telling a lie. Meaning, after the tests, your engines.
80% brand new.
Hindi, sasabihin na, may problema ang engine mo. Pero, tayo-tayo na lang yun. You pay us a certain amount. Okay. The idea of putting that there para mag-flash sana, the emission center should be the diagnostics. I mean, they find out that the engine is emitting carbon. And therefore, kailangan to i-treat. Pero ayaw na may-ari na i-treat yung kanya. Kaya doon pa lang, yun, convincing natin ang both the government and the emission centers na gumamit sila nito para yun, it is precisely this solution na kailangan niya. Pag once na na-diagnose na nag-i-emit siya ng masamang carbon, that's the time na kailangan gamitin ito.
And para
Ang problema, ang corruption talaga sa emission centers na
sa ngayon po, I'm about to sign an agreement with Brightbeam Corporation. Sila po ang may-ari ng Rapide.
Rapide. Okay.
I'm about to sign a contract with them, and I'm authorizing them to be the dealer of this machine in the country. Now, they will present this to Shell Corporation. And I'm very confident that Shell will buy this technology. However, what we're asking from your organization, being an integral part as identified in the prescription of the law, identified po kasi kayo.
Kasi
Being
as a
people's
people's
organization.
organization, yeah, we
Okay.
as a people's organization,
And you can
we-
even
we-
sue the government for not acting as one. It's all prescribed in the law. Pwede nyo silang demanda.
Ganda yun.
Ang hinihingi po namin is that help us advocate this and
Can you help us in the expenses involved in filing a case, suit against the government
ang sinasabi
for not following its own laws, Clean Air Act, and then the corruption involved in the implementation of the Clean Air Act.
ang sa akin po Canelo is this.
Mhm.
Perhaps on the financial
Side.
side, magagawa namin yan. But why do we have to go that far when in fact the president himself was addressing that issue during his State of the Nation address? Okay. If there are avenues where you can present this and he will exercise his power through executive orders, then the people will follow. And that's one of the reasons I'm making it affordable to the people. I'm not going to charge them an arm or a leg. I'm making it available to the people at an affordable price, as if you are just changing your oil, but this one we're offering a treatment.
Have you tried talking to some emission centers?
Ang emission
Emission
testing
testing
centers.
centers.
Yeah, ang emission testing centers po kasi, we don't have to do that. Kasi they will be the one to come forward. Once napirmahan ko na po ang agreement with Rapid and Shell Corporation, they'll be the one to come forward. All they have to do is to add this machine into their structure. They can proceed with doing business once again.
So
And also-
they'll be required to buy this
Of
machine.
course, of
Huh?
course.
And how much is this?
The entire operation itself is about 860,000 pesos. Very, very minimal.
For the
For the machine.
For each machine.
Yeah.
And,
And the solution.
and the solution.
how,
And the solution is consumable.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to buy it when you start
From
up.
time to time.
And the profit, Canelo, for this operation is huge. In less than a year, you can have your ROI. Also, at the same time, being a people's organization, I am fully aware of how connected you are with Efren de Luna
Yeah, yeah.
and other transport group.
Orlando Marquez is my friend.
Martin something.
Martin.
Yeah.
The group of the association involved in land transport.
Okay. If you have influences with them,
Yeah, I have a connection with them.
yeah, you can tell them we are their friends. We are not their enemy. This, they can use this against the government to tell the government and even the testing centers, we can pass the emission.
We are still in the selling stage now, in the marketing stage.
Right now,
in
I'm
this
not
stage.
directly selling it.
Mhm.
I have an authorized dealer.
you have already signed an agreement with Rapide
About
about
to sign?
marketing.
About the sign.
About the site.
one also with Shell Company.
They will be the one to do it with Shell. I don't want to intervene on that affair.
As far as marketing is concerned, you have a group.
We can also sell machine ourselves. And General Costas is
Si
in charge.
General
Yeah.
General.
He's in charge of that.
Oo.
Kasi on September 11, I'll be back in the States.
Ganun. Si General na natin after na wala si Kasi what we do, no, if ever new systems or inventions,
Comes along with it.
we invite them to a media forum. And probably if you are watching the social media, ito sila ang mga ini-invite namin sila ng actually itong week na ito yung kinakalaban nila yung yung no contact apprehension, di ba? Yun ang issue, itong grupo na ito. So, if you're amenable, yung marketing side natin, I'll try to connect you with them. And schedule, if you're amenable, that you will be interviewed in a press in a press conference or in a media forum. Media will, group of media will question you, show their verification.
One of the best act or action that we can probably do is for them to bring their vehicle. We will treat it and take it to the testing center. We have our own testing mechanism ourselves. We have an opacity meter.
So this technology is
All US technology.
from US?
Yes.
From US.
But as of now, it is fastest selling in Japan
in Japan.
and UK.
Mhm.
In UK, they call it detoxification.
Detoxification machine.
They in the UK they call it decontamination treatment.
Mm.
But we brand it ourselves in the Philippines in a different way. And you might be surprised one of these days, Shell Car Care with a heart.
Cell character. But as a people's organization or non-government organization, how can we help you? How can we partner with you? Kilusang Pilipinismo.
Sa organization niyo po, and hinihiling ko nga lang, kung magkaroon ng executive order na i-mandate ang tao for the treatment, or there are another scheme that can be brought up to the government. One of them is incentivizing the vehicle owners. Kayo may sasakyan, nakaregister sa pangalan nyo. Okay? As a part of the government's campaign on climate change, you will be issued a check that this is in the form of a voucher. Okay? You can use this voucher in order for your
To avail of the service.
engine
To avail of the service.
to be treated, avail of the service. Okay. But you are responsible for the motor oil and other components thereof. This amount of money is only for the treatment procedure
Flushing.
being done.
Flashing.
Yeah, it's like,
Siguro we can associate this with the program of
DNR.
the transport modernization.
Yeah, transport modernization. DNR for climate change.
the transport modernization will not take a
Yes.
ride on that.
But with the
Transport modernization program entails that they have to buy a newly designed vehicles.
correct.
That's what they're after. That's where their market is. It has nothing to do. They will not even take this. And there's a lie on that. The engines of those vehicles are
The reason
diesel as
why
well.
there is a transport modernization program because of the maintenance that is being imposed by the government to improve our transport system.
I forgot what was the
Maintenance.
It will be an additional cost to the car owner.
okay. I had a meeting with Ka-Obit Martin in 2017
Mm.
about this. His response was, we are introducing
And you.
transport modernization.
Modernization.
And what it was is a newly designed jeepney for the drivers to avail,
To replace the old
Right.
jeepney.
to replace the
The old
old
jeepney.
jeepney. That's all there is.
Yeah, but the question is,
They're being funded by
CSI.
Hino
DBB.
and other manufacturers.
DVB.
Are these electric cars?
No, they're not.
Kaya nga.
Diesel engine pa rin.
May-
Ang kanila
may-
kasi, this will be applicable to new cars, all old cars. Di ba?
New and old car.
Running on the street. Yun ang sa inyo, di ba?
Everything.
Oo.
Nasa batas eh.
Mm.
New and old car.
New and old cars, oo.
Yes.
Have you approached any government agency yet? Have you talked to the land transportation?
We had a meeting with the Secretary Galvante. General Costas was there.
Kay, kay Galvante.
Yeah.
Naabutan niyo pa si Galvante. Pero ngayon si Duabis eh.
Kasama natin yan sa PSC no? Ewan ko ba't di na siya tinuloy.
Ganun po. Oo.
Yung sa test ng DNR naman,
Mm.
para yung sabi mo, ipapakita yung sasakyan ng mga kaibigan natin. Tinetest muna ng machine kung ano yung carbon niya, content niya.
Before and after the
Before,
treatment.
yeah.
Oo, tama.
Ang laki. Ang laki ng,
Ang diferensya.
ang laki ng diferensya yung 5 plus naging 2 na lang.
Mm.
Pumasa na dun sa test. Kaya nga yung modernization actually,
Mm.
tama yan na yung modernize yung mga sakyan.
Mm.
But the plan was there will be MBICs,
Mm.
Mobile Inspection Vehicle Centers, or the system.
Ganun pa rin. Hindi na-treat. Nalaman lang kung ano yung mga hindi pumapasa.
Sabi niya siguro,
Pero walang treatment.
yan, sabi niya siguro, pag bago ka, mas madali kang pumasa. Kasi hindi na totoo yun eh. Bago ka o hindi, kung may problema sa sakyan mo, papagsak ka sa testing.
Mm.
Okay.
Pinabobombahan lang nila sa muffler yung
Kaya
tubig.
nga mas matindi sa itong makina natin kung bumagsak ka, tapos iti-test mo, papasa ka eh. Diba?
Ito pong ating ginagawa is not a band-aid.
Solution.
It is a solution.
It will be good as
Sino nga sa
80% up
Si Duabis. Assistant Secretary Duabis. Dati ata sa NCR yan eh.
Assistant Secretary Duabis is now
Oo.
the USEC for
Assistant Secretary for
DOEI na, DNR.
Sino si Duabis? Sa LTO po. LTO. Land Transportation. The new head.
Yeah. Ito pong mga government appointed government officials within the different branches of government, I can understand where they're coming from. Because what they're trying to avoid is committing any act.
Favoring
No,
certain
any
company.
act that would fall under graft and corrupt practices.
Anti-grafted corrupt
Yeah.
practices.
Kaya hindi po sila pwede mag-endorse ng certain product or any type of equipment. Sila po are just enforcement agencies or implementing agencies. So, for us to indulge in meeting with them and getting their influences, we have already done that. And it ended up...
With DNR po, have you
This technology has
there
already
is there is a division there.
may mga testers na sa
Climate change, in charge of climate change.
The technology has been tested and
Nakausap niyo na po.
we have a
Everything
certificate.
has already been done.
Sino, kanino?
Mayroon kami result ng test.
Hindi, pwede nakipag-usap na ba kayo kay Yusek Te ng climate change? Hindi ba?
si Yusik ba ngayon?
Oh, si Yusek Te, ang climate change.
Sila, I don't know what their protocols are in terms of...
She's the one in charge under the cabinet secretary.
Ito po kasi, this is where being the president of the country, this is where my problem is. The government is supposed to look for mechanisms, technologies. We already presented the technology to them, but up to this time, there's no communication.
Wala action.
So, are they looking for one? Maybe not. Maybe they're just satisfied with their...
That's the problem with our government.
Kasi ang tinitingnan kong problema, each flushing, no, will cost 7,000. Di ba? Yung package.
Not each flushing. Yan po once a year.
Kaya nga po, once a year. Should it be a requirement once a year? Then that will remain 7,000 for each car owner once a year. Tama? Ngayon, sino ang magsusyolder? Siguro kung ang magsusyolder ang mga car owner, may resistance. Ano? Ngayon, kinukonsider nyo siguro na magsusyolder ang DNR for that because they're funded for that.
No, iko-correct ko po. Ang sinasabi niyo po kasi 7,000. How many times po kayo nagpapa-oil change?
Normally kasi, sa kilometrahe yan.
Yan na, ang frequency po.
Ang frequency, normally mga once in 2 months. Ngayon, 3 months.
Once in 2 months.
And 3 months.
Okay.
So.
Magkano po binabayad niyo?
Ang Shell kasi yung mga pagka-package yan eh. Pang 1,500 to 2,000 dependent on anong gagamitin na lang
Of oil.
So,
oil.
di mo na sa 2,000.
Oo, di ba?
Oo.
Ewan ko ngayon, tumaas na siguro ngayon, no? 2,000. 2,500 na.
Oo,
yan.
Okay.
Package yun. Package yun.
For
oo.
sedan. For sedan.
Okay,
Papalitan nilang filter, pa-flush nila.
Oo.
May ginagamit sila na flushing solution, di ba?
Oo.
Pagkatapos, yun na.
Yan.
Then they will remind you. Halimbawa, after
Talagay nila doon yung ginamit.
yung computer ka nila, database ka nila eh.
Tama.
Oo.
Ngayon po, kung kayo po may kasamang treatment doon, yan nagdagdag lang yun ng konti, would it be beneficial for you or not?
Depende sa, ako siguro, sa economic class, ano.
Meron silang binibentang
Minibenta nila yan.
Oo.
Pinopromote nila yan.
pinopromote nila eh.
Additive siguro.
Additive siguro.
I-flush natin. Actually, di additive yung flashing yan.
Oo.
Flashing.
Flashing.
Flashing yan.
Flashing din sila tawag nila.
Flashing yan. Pero actually, meron na rin na-introduce sa market
Oo.
na additive.
Additive.
Meron na rin yan.
Correct. Oo.
Na-introduce yan.
And yun po ang sinasabi ko, what we were trying to do is to make it affordable. Parang nagpapa-oil change lang kayo. But with an additional benefit. And that's only once a year.
Once a year,
So, in terms of who's going to shoulder, it's your vehicle, isn't it? So, are you not responsible for paying?
Alam mo naman na yung Filipino culture eh.
Kaya,
Gusto magtipid, ano?
Oo.
Doon po na,
Sometimes nga naglalagay sa emission test eh. Para makalusot lang eh.
2,500 synthetic yun.
Mayroon pa,
Oo.
mayroon pa nga non-appearance.
Synthetic yun. Synthetic yun sabi na.
Sa emission test
Ninanap
wala pang non-appearance, mayroon eh.
Ayun pa.
kaya yung sinasabi nyo, alam mo naman mga Filipino,
Oo
di
nga.
ba? That message to me
Ah,
is negative. Kasi, you're the one making them corrupt.
ang iniisip ko kasi baka may malaking pondo ang DNR for that, ano. That would be a viable project for
Eh, yun po, yung isang ina-introduce ko kanina,
Kasi kung halimbawa ma-introduce natin sa kanila, talagang may budget sila dyan, how to clean the air.
Yeah. Kaya yan nga yung purpose.
Ngayon, this will be a working relationship between them as funder at saka LTO as a partner, di ba? Tingnan natin, ibig sabihin, we have to explore kung ano ang reaction nila. Willing ba silang
Mayroon na
nito?
kasi mga resort yung mga test nila with agencies concerned, ano, in particular with DNR. But what was mandated in the law is for the issuance of ECC. Now, DNR cannot issue ECC without the environmental impact statement. That is a technical report.
May tribal meeting naman ng 2:30.
sige po, salamat po.
Narinig ko yan naman, Ryan.
So, in the case of DNR, who is going to issue the certificate of environmental certificate of compliance, is that without the environmental impact statement, they cannot issue the ECC.
Pero for those
Sabi
ano yun,
ko,
mga halimbawa industries talaga. Ito hindi naman eh. This is,
But you know, sooner or later, it will involve power
kunyari may
plants.
tinayo ka na
Katulad ng kuwan,
isang
ano, ha?
kumpanya,
Mm.
they will require it, yung ECC saka
No,
EIC.
kasi naging mandatory na dito sa batas na ito
No.
na lahat ng engine
Okay.
that is
My suggestion is open your mind into what is given to you, because first and foremost, you don't know what is required, whether environmental compliance is needed for this type of procedure. Open the suggestion of others so that we can arrive at a much better conclusion rather than argue on something that we are not even privy of.
Hindi, ang
That's
atin
the
lang
best
naman,
way to discuss.
yung atin lang naman, there was already a comment that issued by DENR regarding the test case that has been done with the introduction of the machine and the solution. Now, since the law requires for the compliance of the issuance of ECC, bakit hindi yun ang focusan natin just to modify the recommendation?
On this type of, it's a service. You don't need environmental compliance, and I can guarantee you that. This is a service, and you don't need environmental compliance.
ECC.
Because the service can be done on a stationary or mobile. So there is no
ECC required.
environmental compliance required.
For as long as you have already secured the permit from the DNR.
Yes.
Napatesting yun na.
Napatesting na.
And the database is there.
Napatesting na ba na?
The services that is taken now, ano nga? Okay.
Ang pangalan niyo po, number. Maiwan po kayo, no? Maiwan kasi uwi na atas brother eh. Back to US. Oh. So maiwan siya as the head of marketing.
Yes, he's eyesight he says.
Yan. Oh. Si General. Hingi na tayo ng number kasi kung ma-meet ko sila.
Ang point lang naman kasi dito, we need to have the issuance of executive order to make it mandatory to all agencies to implement and enforce the
Requirement.
the technology
Ah.
that is required in the registration of all vehicles and all engines brand new and
No, there
Thank you
is
po,
a
thank you po.
nakalagay eh.
Yeah, but there is
Costed.
also under the prescription of manufacturers, brand new vehicle up to 4 years old, you are not required to. Kasi that's within the warranty period ng mga manufacturer. You cannot alter that manufacturing warranty agreement. So anything more than that, but others may, kasi nakikita nila ang benefit, they may be willing to spend money. But what is most important here, yung mahihirap na ayaw pa nilang pakawalan ang kanilang mga sasakyan, mayroon silang katulong. Ito ang aagapay sa kanila, that they can pass emission requirement at 2.5 tons per million, parts per million, makakapasa sila, magagamit nila ang kanilang sasakyan sa kalsada. That's all that matters.
Before the emission tests.
Yeah.
And then they can...
Hindi na babawasan yung
Emission test is only
Sa
to
emission test
determine
ba, magkano
the
binabayad?
worthiness of the
Magkano
vehicle on the
binabayad sa
road.
emission test? Hindi ko alam.
500 po.
I think
Anong 500?
600.
650.
Ha?
Total yun, 650.
Motor nga lang, ano
Doon kay
eh.
Kernel, ano eh.
650.
Yung dati ka na sinarada.
Doon sa governor, sa
Sinarada na.
Shaw Boulevard.
Eh bakit po? Matanong ko lang.
Bibigyan ka pa discount.
Bakit sinasara ngayon ng ano?
Dahil na pumutok yung mga no appearance eh.
Yun po, sinasabi natin.
Appearance lang.
No appearance sa emission test.
Oh, yes.
Pumutok yun, kaya limited na ang ginano nila. Usually yung, kasi ang ginagawa ng LTO, kung meron kang lugar, meron kang pwesto, i-ano mo sila doon, bigyan mo sila opisina, automatically makukuha mo yung emission. Oo.
And that,
Pinaupahan ng ano yan eh, yung mga lupa.
that was the very first thing they did para magkaroon sila ng milking cow.
Bigyan ikaw yan. Oh.
Ginamit nila yung batas na yan na Republic Act 8749.
Ngayon, nireklamo nitong mga mga branches na ito ng LTO. Yung mga testing lang. So, nag-grade ngayon si Galbante. Pinutol ni Galbante yan eh. Yung sa iba eh. Pinili niya lang yung ititira niya. Ano na nangyari dyan.
Kaya may resba.
Ha?
Kaya mayroong resba.
Ano naman, medyo mahigpit naman sa ngayon, ano? Medyo mahigpit naman. Kaysa yung dati. Dati, bibigyan ka pa ng discount eh, just to attract na. Doon ka kuha ng certificate eh.
Had there been no fishy in the case of Galbante. Alam mo si Galbante, organic na Malacanang yan eh.
Galbante.
Bakit hindi na-retain?
Respective area.
Hindi siya na-retain kasi ano siya
Hindi
eh.
na retain.
Digong siya, kay Digong siya eh.
Pero sundan ko yung ano,
Apo,
kung ako yung tao, 650, di ba?
apo,
Nagpates ako.
apo.
Possible na mabagsak ka, di ba?
Bagsak lahat yan.
Babagsak. Kung babagsak ka, ano mas maganda? Magpatreat ka muna bago magpates o magpatreat ka, pagbagsak ka, treat ka, bayad ka ulit ng 650.
Oo.
Magpatreat ka na
Oo.
bago magpates.
Ang problema talaga dyan, mga bagong sasakyan, kanilo. Bagong sasakyan na nagka-release lang. Mag-renew sila, pag-test lang, bagsak sila.
Bagsak.
Kasi, ang kurudo natin, o yung gasolina yun may depekto. Yun ang may depekto. Hindi yun na pure. Ibig sabihin, actually, ang reason yan, minsan dinadagdagan ng octane yan eh.
Adulterated na.
Oo. Doon talaga, kaya ang dami nagreklamo, bago lang yan eh. Kalalabas lang yan last month, bakit bagsak yan sa emission test, di ba? Marami na gano'n yan.
Marami pong mga factor na patungkol dyan. Pero ang inaano po natin kasi, kung paano natin maiwasan yung mga... we're actually re-educating our people. Okay? Kaya, ini-introduce natin ito na kung po pwedeng we should not indulge into those kind of activities, it would be better for us. And sana wag manahin ang ating mga anak. Kasi yung nakikita ng mga anak natin, sa ngayon na practice, they may practice that in the future.
Oo.
And iyan ang sinasabi na all hell will break loose in the future. Wala na tayong mundong gagalawan. And we become totally uncivilized.
So, na-present niyo po dyan yung sa DNR mismo doon sa
It's already tested.
pagkatapos
DNR, may result tayo.
may result tayo. Oo.
May result.
Ang problema lang,
Kaya maganda rin kung yung papakailan mo kami dyan, magde-demo. Ganun din.
yun, oo.
Test mo natin yung...
Kasi alam mo itong climate change, parang climate change USEC. May funding yan sila. Actually, ang isang nila, yung bamboo planting. Isa sa mga mitigating nila eh. Di ba kanila? May budget yan.
Yan po ang tinatawag sa carbon credit.
Oo. At saka kuha niyan. Ibig sabihin talagang nililinis mo rin yung hangin. With or without carbon credit.
Ang lupal mo.
Oo.
Kumbaga sa ang bamboo...
Ngayon baka ito pwede nilang i-include.
Hindi,
Subsidize nila.
Kung baga sa hindi pa kilala ito.
Kaya nga.
We are just introducing a new technology that could be accredited by the Commission on Carbon Credit.
Tingnan po natin ito
So,
sa...
meron na tayo makina
Yeah.
dito.
Meron na. Oo.
Kaya yung...
Kung tatanong nila, what capacity naman kayo nakikipag-usap sa amin?
Yung
Are you the sole marketing entity
sole distributor.
coming to the Philippines? Di ba?
I'm the only distributor
only
in the
distributor.
Philippines and Asia Pacific.
Ayun pala eh.
Ang ginawa
We
ng
have that
Amerika,
paper, di ba?
Kanya-kanya.
We have that
Japan.
paper.
Ang Philippines siya.
Ngayon dito si General naman ng assistant at pinaka...
Sa operations.
Sa operation,
Ayun,
siya ang
pala.
may hawak na operation.
Ayun, oh. Oo.
Where's your office?
So yung sa...
Ang office ko po, sa ngayon, pansamantala,
Pag-asa.
where we don't have a permanent corporate office, yung bahay ko po sa Quezon City.
Quezon City po? Saan malapit po?
Yung ba pag-asa?
Pag-asa.
Sa likod ng SM.
Sa likod ng SM.
Not SM.
SM North.
SM North. Oo.
My veterans.
Ah,
Sa ngayon, structural kami until such time na I can
kailan po kayo uwi sa US?
September 11.
Ang lapit na, no? Lapit na.
9/11 po yan.
9/11 yan.
It's better that way, at least.
Birthday niya.
Kung target naman nila ang aeroplano
Magdademo kami sa Marikina Shell ng baka next week.
Yeah.
So,
Pero
pwede
nasa
ka manood
nasa
doon.
pipeline niyo ba na magdi-demo rin kayo sa DNR, no?
Ay, hindi na po.
Ha?
Tapos na po ang DNR.
Tapos
Tapos
na
ng
Hindi,
DNR.
tapos ko na DNR. Na-test na eh.
Kailan na kayo na gano'n?
We did that in 2018.
So you want to sell it to Shell and to the other
Apo.
Caltex and
And hopefully, yun yung sinasabi ko, sa mga transport group, if they want to see how it's done and how this would benefit them, they could come and attend. Kasi ito po yung panlaban nila sa pamamaraan ng DOTR, who happens to be the head of LTO, to tell them, look, may technology kami, we treated our engines, it passed the emission. What other standards you find in our vehicle, that's totally different parts of the inspection. Kasi may mandato ng pang LTO eh. Pero what is important, ang mandato nitong pagsunod sa Clean Air Act. Ang nagkagulo lang po sila eh. Honestly, dalawang mandato pinag-isa nila into motor vehicle inspection system,
MBIS.
MVIS. Bata pa tayo. May mandato na ang LTO about the safety. Nandiyan na yan. Since time immemorial. Ang emission, ang Clean Air Act was just acted into law in 1999. So ito ngayon, mayroon pong isang matalino na nakita, pagkakakwartahan natin to, i-integrate natin ang dalawa, naapektuhan naman itong maliliit na tao. So, anong gagawin ng maliliit na tao? Iiyak. Yung pag-iyak nila ngayon, it became a national problem of the government. Kasi, yung pag-iyak ngayon, hindi lang maliit na iyak. Nagkagulo. It becomes a national problem of the government. So ngayon, they have to find a solution to that problem. A solution, investors mag-sacrifice kayo. Alisin ang inspection, safety part of the inspection, ituloy ang testing. Another Band-Aid. But what is the permanent solution? Ang root cause ng problema ng carbon emission. That is what is the root cause. Hindi pwedeng i-regulate ang fuel because wala tayong dati, wala tayong euro. And what people understand about euro, we came up with the standard of Euro 4. What does it mean? Euro 4 has 35% sulfur content. Ang sulfur nakakalason. Nakakamatay ng tao.
sulfur.
Okay.
How long have you been in the United States?
More than 20 plus years na po ako.
Siya ba yung
So,
ng kapatid mo?
but as an immigrant,
Lupa siya yun.
you're also mentioning about the kind of future we will
Tinawagan mo ngayon, tinawagan.
that will be inherited by our children.
Yes.
Ang kilusang Pilipinismo is that it wants to transform Filipino values. At the same time, we need to engage us in things like this. We want to engage in reducing this carbon pollution. And at the same time, we want to make use of this project to inculcate and internalize values. As I was saying, paano kayo makakatulong para labanan ng corruption dito sa emission nito under the LTO. Pero kung di naman natin malalabanan yun, dito saan natin nalabanan? Anong fronts na paglalaban natin? Unless they're just interested in making profits. Like selling it to Caltex, selling it to Shell, selling it to, But in fact, we can advocate for part of the Clean Air Act, ang use of this
Cleaner.
sa Clean Air Act.
Tama.
There's a law. Ang pag-usapan natin, okay, sabi niya wala na kayong problema sa DNR. We have already addressed the issue of nasaan ang problema ngayon? Where we can help.
Implementation, enforcement.
You want the government to issue an executive order mandating the mandatory use
Yes.
Of the blasting system.
of the plastic system.
Kasi dual yung ano niya eh.
Treatment po. Treatment.
While we are a private organization, we are a people's organization, we are not liable to, But once we approach a government agency or a head of a government agency, as they said, they are liable under Anti-Graft and National Practices Act for advocating for a product that will be approved by the government. So the most logical groups that will do that are not private organizations like us. And because one of our programs, one of the items in our programs is clean environment for the future generation. In fact, we are in carbon credits. We are engaged in planting. On the 13th of September, there will be nationwide planting of iron bamboos as part of the celebration of the birthday of the president. And then 6,500 in Montalban alone. And then the Marikina watershed, 6,500 clamps. Because 65 years old siya. So 6,500 clamps. Yan dadagdagan pa natin ang ilang pandagdag natin, kababoy? We'll increase 6,500 clamps to make it 10,000.
Opo, yung pong 6,500, subukan pong gawin natin 10,000 sa araw ngayon. Actual, hindi naman po matapos maitanim lahat sa araw na yun, pero kasi po yung pong 6,500 ay magko-cover po ng mga 32 hectares. Kasi yung sinafano po namin protocol doon ay 200 clumps of bamboo for every hectare. That's the distancing that we are following.
This is another way of reducing the carbon dioxide.
Panjay.
Pero ito, to me, personally, and to our organization, we recognize the value of your invention
Okay.
and your technology. we just don't know how you want to partner with how to sell it to the government, what is the arrangement with the government if for instance we together with General na makabisita kami kaya sa the proper agency. Saan ba tayo muna? Anong agency na ano?
Actually,
Actually, ang gusto niyo actually is an executive order from the Office of the President or what?
That's what we're hoping for, so that the people can comply with what is mandated in the prescription of
The law.
8749.
The law. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can advocate for that.
okay, Camilo.
Mhm.
My interest over the issues here is that we are hitting two birds at a time.
Okay.
We are promoting the transport sector to become efficient and effective on the road,
Okay.
and we are contributing an impact to clean air, to climate change. So, the difference between the existing procedure of the agencies like LTO and maybe to some coal power plants emitting pollutions, siguro naman makikita namin nila the percentage of importance other than the existing procedures.
Yeah.
How good will it be?
What we are interested in as a people's organization is to make use of this invention to expose the corruption in the emission centers once and for all. Sabi natin, ito na ang magka-testing, ito na ang maglilinis, dalhin nyo na dito. So this is a modification of the concept of the emission centers.
Correct.
The emission centers would just diagnose walang hausyaw. Kasi these people are lying. Walang diferensya. Kasi may perang, may nilagay na. Alam mo ba natin lahat yan eh. Diba? Kasi niya walang diferensya. Pero ang insist natin, be truthful. Itong mga emission centers o kaya umalis kayo. Be truthful and then make use of this invention to flush out at least nagbayad siya ng 7,000. Malinis ang engine niya, hindi yung nagbayad siya ng lagay. Pero wala naman nangyari doon sa engine niya.
Wala.
Niloloko natin ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Kaya yun ang hindi namin gusto sa filosofang Pilipinismo.
And even yourself,
Niloloko natin. Kaya, if together, our organizations, makapag-expose tayo dito sa parting ito lang ng LTO, then we are doing a service to the Filipino people.
An attack.
if I may suggest also, Canelo, if I may, because I will not be here, General Costas will be the one handling all of this, coordinate with you any kind of treatment procedures that we're going to do. As a matter of fact, maybe we can offer the part and parcel, your vehicle, we will treat them, just to show and exhibit how effective and how beneficial this is, not only for you, but for all of us.
Thank you. We'll start with the vehicles of our own officers and people.
Precisely. Well, we can probably do that. I will try to make necessary arrangements with our business partner so that we can approach this in so many different fronts.
Yes.
Them being a service provider, they can approach other larger petroleum institutions. On your part, you can bring in the transport group, sectors that are affected, and even encourage the government. Okay, look, I think this is more beneficial for the government rather than just us. kasi altogether, in harmony, we can make a big difference.
Yes.
And that would also benefit your organization, being right now, I'm not saying how, I cannot scale how big you are or how big or how small you are. This is one avenue for your organization to be exposed.
Okay. Sige, boy.
General, it's very, very perceptive of you to say how to gauge how big or how small this organization is. But having said that, sir, I was listening intently to kanino, to Bishop. Yun lang pong pagtumbok dun sa corruption na talaga naman talamak po sa mga emission center. Kasi ako po, matagal na rin po naman nag-ano, wala naman po ako nakita mag-fail sa emission test. Wala po nag-fail sa emission test.
On the current practices.
Oo, wala po nag-fail. At ito po ay, kaya nga po tayo matatawa dito, lahat nag-emission test. Saka pag tingnan nyo yung emission test, sa totoo lang po, sir, hindi nyo malaman kung tinitesting ba yan o hindi. Kasi ang ginagawa lang naman yan, sasaksakan ng tubo yung tambucho. Hindi nyo naman alam kung yung makina. Anyway, my whole point there, sir, is that there is a huge amount of corruption going on there. That's why the operators of the emission centers are actually able to dish out big money so that
Pag-lobby nila.
So isa hong angle yun. Now you said how big we are. Sir, we are working closely, Luzon Philippines is working closely with a Malaysian conglomerate, run by a Filipino executive. And what is the relevance of all of this? This Filipino Malaysian conglomerate, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, if you can appreciate what a Manny Pangilinan is in the Philippines, bought Smart, bought Meralco, bought Visnat, bought hospitals, that is P.T. Salim money.
Yes.
Because P.T. Salim is an Indonesian conglomerate.
Correct.
And most people who are in the know fully realize that this is an affront to our national patrimony. Pilipino kunyari si MVP, pero lahat po yan, P.T. Salim po yan. Now, you're saying, yung ating pong partner ay Pilipino, ay Kapampangan, ay kaibigan, pwede niyo pong sabihin ba't mo binamagaling yan kung ano yung ginawa ng Indonesia through Manny Pangilinan, yun din ang gagawin niyang Malaysia niyan dito sa ating sinasabi. Pero what's the picture I'm trying to share with you? They're the biggest infrastructure developer in Clark Plain City, and they are into renewable energy. Ito po, sa nakikita ko in my simple and humble perception, tama po sinabi niya, dapat multi-pronged attack, General. Tinitira natin yung corruption because there is corruption. Now, ito sasakyan, lahat. Pero yung big picture, we are working closely with Yusek Anate, sabi nga of the DNR, who is on top of climate change protocol. So, if you really want to make a dent and you really want to carry this thing, I think it should be on the really big picture. Bakit po? Sir, we are planting thousands of hectares or involved in the planting, general, thousands of hectares of napier, grass, and bamboo because this is a biomass feedstock.
Correct.
And the biomass feedstock, sir, is part of renewable energy, green energy. So, pag yung big picture na po yung sinasabi ko kasi po, pagka yung sinasabi mo po, miski anong ganda, hindi pwede po na parang isang tugtok lang magiging atake natin Kasi alam nyo naman how it is, no? So we have to carry the fight in the big picture, no? Climate change protocol, sabi nyo nga Kyoto, lahat, renewable energy. So if we do it this way, then we will be heard more effectively. Di po ba? I hope you could see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I really do appreciate. As a matter of fact, one model that why I'm doing it this way is first and foremost the people's power. The people's power successfully, it was successfully and in a more disciplined way done here in the Philippines that are now emulating all over the world. If we can do the same thing for that type of model on what we're doing here in the Philippines, other nations will follow.
Kasi po, going back to our renewable energy, no? Clean energy. This is about, using clean energy so that we will lessen, if not completely eradicate the damage to our ozone layer. Di ba? Yan ang pinag-uusapan natin eh.
Correct.
We are talking of one specific or one particular product that will contribute to this. For example po, we're talking of huge companies, mining companies. Maybe, in a direct connection to their corporate social responsibility, pwede natin ipasok to. Hindi naman pwede pong hardline tayo, legislation lang eh. Ang bigat po nun. And when you do that through legislation, sir, the lobby money that you would give, todas po tayo dito. So, sa nakikita ko lang po, yan po, vision. If you will allow, maybe, for us to make a recommendation, kasi aalis po kayo, but I'm sure you have an organization that is going to be, so maybe we can fine-tune and really, put this together, based on a big picture, because there are many ways of skinning a cat, ika nga ho, di ba? Hindi naman tayo pwede magtuon lang sa corruption, hindi naman tayo pwede magtuon lang sa legislation. But if we are able to harmonize all of these things together, then, in general, yung po ating military, operation, kumbaga military operation to, we'll be sure of a victory, a resounding victory, di ba? So anyway, hindi naman po sa you're dealing with, somehow, this is a commercial value, no? So let's say for the organization, it's not that we're putting a price to this. With our Ilusang Pilipinismo, we have this in our hearts and our minds. So, but then, this is also a business. This is also a revenue. I'm sure you bring in a product. Siguro, I don't know. I think
This is a business with Filipino values.
Opo. So, ang ibig kong sabihin, ano po ba yung revenue, doon? I mean, if you have discussed it, I'm sorry, I'll go back to it and review it. If not, perhaps you can tell, say, for example, for whatever ano po ba ang commercial translation niya? Ito po produkto natin, ito po sinasabi natin na gusto natin itaguyin.
In terms of commercial translation, I have mentioned earlier.
Kanya po. Kaya pasensya na.
I understand.
So ano po, kung meron na po, I will just go back to the record.
No, as of this time, we don't have a valuation yet.
Wala ka.
Mahirap po mabigyan ng value to unless otherwise it's put in place. Because this is services.
So what's in store for you? What's in store for other people who will pitch in? At some point, this will have to be factored in, dito ba?
Yeah.
So wala pa po tayo.
What are you, let me be blunt and honest. What are you suggesting
Ang
for
sinasabi
us
ko,
to do?
this is a product.
And,
You
yeah.
are the exclusive distributor, country distributor for Philippines and ASEAN,
Right.
if I understand correctly. So if we move this product in the big picture manner that I was trying to suggest, paano po ba ang kwentatas?
Are you asking me
What is in it for
to
us?
appoint your organization as our PR firm?
No, sir. I'm asking
Yes,
if
yes.
Because in reality, that's what you're pointing.
No, all I'm saying is if you do this in a business, what's in store for all the stakeholders?
Computation.
What does Kilusang Pilipinas
What's in store for stakeholders?
Maybe I can contribute something. Introducing the technology forward. As has been discussed, maganda na yun. That is a forward impact of the technology introduction as a solution to clean the air. And the backward impact is that it contributes a big contribution to a climate change that will promote a healthy air to the consumption of the people. That is, of course, as a whole, as mankind would benefit out of it. This is the forward and backward impact of the technology.
Okay.
So, yun na lang ang buuin natin.
Forward and backward linkages.
Forward and backward impact of the technology. Forward,
Kaya nga, tama yung sinabi ni Kuya ni Canilo earlier.
so the impact,
Are
the backward
you,
impact.
Are you asking me to commit that your organization be my PR firm? Is that what you're
That's
asking?
possible. That's possible.
But from my end, what I'm saying is, if
Because when you become one, that transform into the peso figure.
Yes.
Okay? Honest ako.
Tama po.
Diretso.
Diretso.
I'm sorry. I may be his brother, but we have lived our lives in different, world and practices.
World apart. I
Different
continent
dimension.
continent apart lang.
Continent.
Continent
Kasi may
apart.
may practice.
The other side of the Pacific.
Hindi na, sabi ko, maaring na-indoctrinate ako ng bansang
US.
I have lived with,
Mm.
but my ideology is Filipino.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Salamat sa
That's
Diyos po.
good.
And like I said earlier, I came back to the country to bring this technology, not for the profit.
Mhm.
Now, if you're putting a price tag on our relationship, I don't think we can.
So if understood po. So in other words, all I'm trying to say in the simplest of terms is there is a product, there's a service. We want to be able to create a benefit for the country, the people, clean air and everything. But
In this country and people.
Opo pa. Wala po ba itong commercial consideration, let's say, for let's say any group who will be a stakeholder or who will participate in?
We are the distributor.
So what's now? Wala. This is a charity for us, sir?
No.
Just in case?
Well, hopefully you will benefit from the foundation that we will create in the future. But as of this time, I cannot make any commitments.
So not to belabor the point, hopefully is something in the future and for all intents and
And
purposes.
in any type of help that you will render to us
Yes.
now
Yes.
will have gains in the future. You will be rewarded.
Yes, because it goes with
Because
the
I have to be honest with you.
Gusto mo kape?
All of this,
Sige.
I
Coffee,
spent all my
gentlemen.
personal money.
Oh, general.
because on the introduction of the technology, on the forward impact, of course, there is also may tinatawag, benefit. Commercially, you will earn from it. That is a forward impact. And the backward impact of it, since it is contributed to climate change, to produce clean air, that is service to the people. Libre yun. Di ba? Of course, going there, if you're going to heaven, mamasahe ka rin. Di ba? Sakay ka ng aeroplano. Di ba?
I have to, I'm sorry, Canilo, I have to be very, very honest.
Yes.
I brought this technology in the country at my own expense.
Okay.
Lahat ito personal kong pera.
Mhm.
I have not asked. When I formed this corporation, there were people that I call piggybackers. They rode on my back, hoping that I can make a quick money out like that. It didn't work that way. It's been 7 years, and we're not talking a small amount of money, big amount of money. And for me to make a commitment to your organization for your assistance, as of this time, it's not gonna happen. You might benefit from it on the foundation that we will form in the future. Because your organization is not only for today or tomorrow, for next week or maybe next month. Your organization will last a long time. And if this is going to be patronized by people and benefiting the people,
Hindi ko naman nagagalaw yan.
your organization will have a fair share of social responsibility. Yeah, I think, I'm glad that you were straightforward.
Mhm.
And I'm so straightforward to you as
Okay.
well.
Thank you.
So yun po ang ano natin. Salamat sa opportunity na nakausap tayo. To say the least, nakita nyo where we are coming from. Mabuti na rin siguro na maaring sa pagbisita nyo ron sa taas, maisama nyo yung amin. At kung maaprobahan, then all of us will have a better
We'll keep
tomorrow.
that in mind. This is still possible for the president. The president is very concerned about climate change. And I think we
Yan
can present
ang atake natin eh.
Climate change.
Ang primary,
We are contributing free service.
Yeah. Actually, if I may add, the current situation is you get number of vehicles running and they're contributing to percent of emission, carbon emission. If you're going to employ this, how much reduction? That would be the approach, right? On a clean air.
That will add to the credit of carbon program.
Correct.
yun ang tinatawag. Kasi dapat maintindihan natin na climate change and clean air are totally two different avenues. Okay? Climate change is a worldwide
Concern.
concern. Okay? They have programs and they have money to spend. And that's why they're offering carbon credits by planting trees. And what does the tree do is to capture the carbon emitted by violators of the Clean Air Act. Dapat makorelate po natin yan. Kasi absent that correlation, we got mixed up in the discussion.
I think that's
Okay.
an important point.
This is a very important point. Climate change is a worldwide program. Clean air is a local. Okay? Ang pinupoint natin dito is clean air. It has the resultant of rehabilitating the air will contribute into the climate. It's part of our contribution. But they are totally two different approaches. Magkaiba po yan. Huwag natin pagsama-samahin. Kasi doon tayo nawawala ng focus. Sometimes, ang discussion end up into
Well, nothing is frivolous so far.
nothing, of course. Kaya nga, that's why we're open.
I was surprised when he said that
With,
no car has failed emission.
you know,
No.
Yung nabanggit niya,
Kasi,
Sa experience niya.
oh,
Sa experience niya.
no. Kasi,
Ako, experience ko dito bumabagsak.
you took that literally.
Kasi mayroon akong suki. Kasama na yung kwento.
Hindi.
Hindi ka bumabas.
Yung sinabi niya kasi, when you take that literally, what he was referring to is the current practice.
Oo. Parang,
It's not the actual test. It's the current practice. So, kung pahabain natin ang ating
Always
pangunawa.
passing because always paid.
Yeah, we have to do it.
No, that is a long practice before.
Oh.
When you seek justice, you buy the law. That's all. Di ba?
By justice.
Oh.
Can by justice.
Kaya na ako
When
how will you expose?
you want justice, you buy the law. That's all. Very sure.
I'm sorry po, Canilo. I'm a little bit offended in what he said. Na there is a price tag on the assistance that you are going to provide to us. When in fact we're offering a viable medium for your organization also to be known as a charitable institution. Na-offend ako. But, you know, I have to say it.
Kasi iniisip niya siguro na bawa, it will also entail expenses on our part kung yung aming advocacy all over the country promoting the gadget or the product.
Ang sa inyo lang naman dito, Canilo, is more on letting the people know you're not going to market anything.
Yeah.
Ang sa amin lang, we are working right now from the back end. And we were made to believe that you have influence on the top. That's why we're here.
In our meetings with the
Okay.
chapters in the organization, as well as meeting with government agencies, and if we have a chance in our meeting with the president, we will.
Yeah.
Kasi we have several topics or talking points with the president. Number one, agriculture. Number two, climate change. Number two, housing. Number three, climate change. Number four is power. And we'll be talking to the president about measures that can,
And you mentioned earlier, Canilo, na sabi mo, what is my Filipino idealism?
we are
Okay.
our organization is really
Bukan yan, para mapakinggan mo.
I have to tell you,
transformative. We have been engaging in values formation.
yeah,
Ito talaga, I'm
Kasi-
not saying that you have paid lip service in our concern for the future generations. Pero since the founding of the Kilusang Pilipinismo in 1982, before the President Marcos signed an executive order creating the Commission for the Preservation of the Filipino Ideology,
honestly po, idol ko kayo when I was growing up. Nagkakasama tayo dati sa rally dyan sa Malacanang. Because I graduated at Dimapa High School.
Hindi mapa.
KM kayo.
Kasama ko ako dyan.
Dito.
Mga KM din ito sa mapa eh.
Coffee.
Thank you.
Kaya yung sinasabi niyo pong Filipino ideology,
Ano?
I can exhibit that to you right now. Bakit babalik pa ako sa bansa daling kong technology neto? What for? I have a good life in America. I'm retired, but not yet retarded.
Okay.
I'm receiving money from them. Why do I have to bother spending my own personal money bring this here? Yun yung puntos ko. That's how I exhibit my Filipino idealism.
Input lang kanila. May mga nagawa na rin kami na with regards to the Clean Air Act, knowing whose product is this, napunta namin mga departments. Like for example, writing the commission, the UST, also went to DNR. So, matapos na namin yun, yung na lang yung tulong ninyo. Kaya kung tinanong nyo ako kanina, anong unahin natin? So, ang ganda yung sinabi niya kanina na ang may hawak dun sa DNR, kasama natin.
Opo, opo.
So, natapos na eh.
Yusek Anate.
Nasulatan na yung
Anate po, abogado.
commission. Nasulatan yung commission. Sinagot naman na tayo. Pinasa tayo sa DOST.
Isang po na wala
Si
na.
DOST naman, pinasa tayo sa
Isang po na.
DNR.
Let's
Yusek, sampol na wala na.
Makinig tayo. Let's listen.
Yeah. So, after ng sulat kay commission, DOST, after DOST, si DNR. So, si DNR naman, sila nag-test. Kasi si DOST, yung trainer na po yan, they all lifted up yung sa law. Kinopya lang natin eh. Hindi natin tinignan na yung mga departments natin hindi pa capable. Like for example, DOST, wala pa lang siyang
Facility.
pang-test facility. Sa DNR, nakapag-test siya, antiquated pa yung opacity meter niya. Yung dala pa namin ang ginamit. Oh, no? So, pero nakita nila na bigla na pumapasa after ng treatment. So, para ma-endorse ito from maging ano sana, andun na lahat ng Ricardo, sabi na kay Presidente, dinaan namin lahat eh. Ang pagit lang sabihin na gumagawa tayo ng law, may mga responsibilities yung mga department. Hindi naman sila capable. No, in fact, si DNR siguro kaya di sila nag-i-issue ng certification report lang, yung test report lang. Kasi takot di siya kasi may fear siya na siya yung ano. So, pag nalaman ni President yan, alam din naman niya na from 82 to 86, I've been with the Presidential Security Command. In fact, hindi ko iniwanan yung post ko. Ang last post ko is San Rafael Bridge. Di ba lahat ng avenue of approach ng kalaban? Tinakpan namin lahat eh. Ako may hawak ng San Rafael.
Sa Rafael, from Bulacan.
Nung umalis na San Rafael, near Benjola.
Mindora.
Lahat ng approach papunta Malacanang.
Juan Rafael Street.
So, pangalaman niya yan na nadaanan namin lahat. Yung mga departments na mayroong product ng climate change. Ganun pa? Namin lahat. Ang kailangan na lang is itula.
Smarter push. Philippine push na lang.
May kod na yan. Gabitin na yan. Yung regards naman doon sa mga kaibigan natin sa transport, we try to request doon sa demo namin. Kaya doon ang makina sa Marikina eh.
Marikina.
Siguro, kung tatlo yung kaibigan natin, tatlong sakyan lang nila dalhin. I-test. After treatment, malalaman niya. Bibiling na yun.
Kasi may parang emission test ni kayo eh. Sarili, no?
Hindi. Mag-treat kami doon.
Oo nga, yung makikita yung after
Kasi
treatment.
opacity
Makikita rin.
Ginamit ng DNR.
For your eyes only.
Oo. Yung ginamit sa DNR, tinest muna eh. Bagsak lahat eh.
Oo.
Tapos nung after treatment, bumasa lahat. In fact, may bulok na bulok pa eh. From 5, naging 2 na lang yung test.
No. So, you have already passed through the DNR.
Lahat ko.
This is what we'll do. Ano
po naman
pa
product nito. Lahat po.
pag-conclude tayo. Number one, I want to reiterate to you that the Kilusang Pilipinismo is a revolutionary organization in the sense that we want to transform
Yung answer dito.
a real revolution.
Yung answer.
Is not
The answer is the endorsement to different government agencies
Clean
for
air.
them to conduct the test.
Hindi, yung commission, anong answer ng commission?
They have no.
They only send a letter to all departments. They do not have their own answer.
I'm not the government. You should not ask me about their answer.
Yun na sinasabi ko eh. Nakakahiya. Nakakahiya. Kung baka sa isang itong product natin, itong mga departments ito may produkto niyan. Sa lahat ng departments na pinuntahan, hindi, gano'n, pinaikot-ikot lang. 2 taon.
Dalawang taon na pala si ano.
Bakating sa...
Dalawang taon na pala kayo na.
2 years na pala yan.
2 years na pala.
Hindi, nung bago yan.
Before,
7 years na yan eh.
hindi ako nakabalik dito because of the pandemic.
Mm.
Uh,
Kaya 2 years, ano, dahil sa
Had it not
pandemic.
for that, I could have been here February of 2020.
Oo. Pandemic yun.
But we already have imported 2 machines in the country. Para lang may pakita sa tao na this is a viable solution.
Mm.
But sad to say, sabi nyo nga, admitted nyo, na there's so much corruption. Not only in the government,
Even in the private sector.
even, as well as the private sector.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Mayroon kasi ritong practice na tinatawag WIIFM.
W, ano yun?
What's in it?
What's in it
Sino ba
for me?
nasa komisyon ngayon?
Sino?
Climate change.
WI.
WIIFM.
Sino
What's
ba
in
nasa
it for me?
Yung sick in
the
church
practice
yan.
is not only the Philippines.
Pero may iba siguro head yan. Pero under sa iyo.
Asia and even in America.
yung-
Ayun,
si
people
Guzman.
actually move if there's something
Guzman.
good for them.
Not
Baka hindi pa
necessarily.
napapalitan yan.
Unahan kanino
Eh, 19
Dito ako kasi
Si mayroon
masyado
tayong
naman
kilala eh.
Na.
Pwede natin yung DNR.
I-google
Kasi
natin.
mayroon tayong kilala.
So I would rather
So then,
not make
let's
comments on that.
talk of
No, I think-
okay.
I think you.
Let's talk of action points. Tayo mismo may mga differences in our views, in our values, and our attitudes. Because we have not, our thesis is that we have not been taught from childhood to adulthood of a Filipino ideology or a set of fundamental values. Okay? No government from Aguinaldo, from Bonifacio, to Duterte, to Marcos II, have, except for a brief period, Marcos, through an executive order, instituted or promulgated or inculcated systematically or the propagation of the Filipino ideology for a very brief period of 5 years, from 1981 to 1986, before he was toppled down, sad to say. And of course, Cory is not expected to carry that out because it's identified with Marcos. Anything identified with Marcos is bad to Cory. But we survived under Cory. We survived under Ramos, we survived under ERA, we survived up to the present. We are a very strong organization working for Filipino values. When I heard about this, and then you're going to do it with the LTO, I thought it was an opportunity for us to openly fight corruption in the LTO. Because part of our work with GMA is, for BBM is not to be yes men. You will not be yes men to him. Yes sir, napakagaling nyo. Yes sir, babagsak ng gobyerno natin. Yes sir, napakagaling pa ninyo. Hindi po kami ganun. Sabihin namin sa kanya. The house is burning, Mr. President. Do something about it. Ganun ang organization. Kaya I'm sure many big immigrants or Filipino Americans wish at the back of their minds that this country, this I would say God-forsaken country, ay magbago na. Sasabihin ko sa inyo, sobrang corruption. The corruption in this country has reached an extent that it has made, ito yung sinasabi namin, the political institution dysfunctional, defective, and this dysfunctionality and defective and corrupted through the years from Aguinaldo to Marcos, and we are trying to do something about it. We are proud to say that we are the only organization concerned about transforming our political institutions. Unless we want the CPP and PA to do it for us. Kasi ang ginagawa namin, kami na ang gagawa to preempt a violent revolution in this country. In the longest running communist
52 years.
insurgency in the world. In the world. Why has this CPP and PA thrived through all these years? It is because the government has not solved the basic problems that are the root causes of insurgency. Just that. Marcos was in the process, but of course he was toppled down somehow, and he was kidnapped by the Americans. Mahabang story yan. Pero ang point ko dito, kung ano man ang you know where we are coming from, you know what our ideology is.
Marami kaya yan.
It's very simple: political liberation, economic emancipation, and social concord. Those are the three fundamental values. What is political liberation? That we'll not be allow ourselves to be dictated upon by the foreigners, na tayong sariling hari sa sariling bayan. Ano sinabi ni Presidente? I will not give an inch of Philippine territory in the West Philippine Sea. That is a strong statement by BBM. So, the political liberation. Alam naman natin, dinidiktahan tayo ng maraming mga dalyuhan dito. Mga inchik, mga Amerikano, mga Koreano. Lahat sila gusto magpiesta sila, mamistra sila, gawin nilang fiesta dito sa Pilipinas ang kanilang at the expense of the Filipino people. At the expense of the Filipino people. We are slaves in our own country.
Mamaya na.
And I'll be blunt about it. Kung nagsasalita ako, we are a province of China. Sino ba yung mga oligarko dito? They control everything. The rice cartel, the cement cartel, the sugar cartel. In other words, ang bahani lamang ng 3 million Americans in the Filipino Americans in the United States should help. Pero nakakahiya sabihin, please liberate us, our fellow Filipinos in the States. But on the contrary, ang nangyayari pa dyan, nagkakaroon ng mga opposition pa sa gobyerno, nagbi-build up pa sila ng mga organisasyon laban sa gobyerno, nagbi-build up pa sila ng kung ano-anong mga anti-government activities na ang ating mga kapatid, the Philippine Americans sa Amerika. Kaya kung minsan sinasabi ko, 3 million Filipinos in the United States. Mag-contribute lang kayo ng $1 ay $100 para mag-form kayo ng isang bangko. So, multiply mo 100 times 3 million. In other words, sabi ko, magtayo kayo ng bangko para tulungan yung mga Filipino entrepreneurs dito. Kasi wala man lang nagpapautang sa mga Filipino entrepreneurs dito. Kaya, ang lumalaki lang dito ay yung mga Inchik, ang mga Amerikano, ang mga Hapon, ang mga Koreano, papasok ang Koreano, yung mga Indiano. They control the underground. Bakit nangyari ito? All because the Bureau of Immigration, since time immemorial, have allowed the entry of foreigners in our country, or 100,000 pesos per head, 300,000 pesos per head, ang ngayon siguro 500,000 per head na ang mga pumapasok na Inchik at saka mga pumapasok na Indiano at mga Koreano dito sa bansa natin.
Iyan po ang malalaking syndication. On this issue naman po, kung
Hindi, okay, I'm just telling you the larger picture, the bigger picture. Bigger picture.
Understood po.
One little picture. Ngayon, number one, as an organization na kahit na paano, meron kaming recognition by BBN because I was the main propagator of the Filipino ideology during that brief period when he issued an executive order in 1983 pa yun eh. Pero 1981, nagsisimula na kaming magpaliwanag ng the development ng Academy of Philippines. We were training CESOs, we trained soldiers, we trained policemen, and we trained bureaucrats. Pero siyempre, for this to have a lasting effect, kailangan at least mga 20 years man lang tinuruan ng ideology. But the president did not start early in his, he should have started hit the ground running in 1965 when he ascended into power together with Park Chung-hee, ito yung sa Singapore, tsaka si Mahathir, tapos si Suharto of Indonesia. They have all started building their country. Sa Malaysia, Rugon Negara. Sa Indonesia, Pang Jasila. May Marcos, Filipino ideology. Ganon, sabay-sabay yun noong 1965. Pero not to belabor the point, ang sinasabi ko nga sa inyo, ang kilusang Pilipinismo is recognized by BBM. Now, we are not promising you a rose garden or anything. We believe in your invention or in your product, whatever you do, and your solution. At least that will reduce or make our air cleaner in this country. That's good for the country. In our projected prospective dialogue with the president, as I have mentioned to you, agriculture, housing, and of course, the last but not the least, it will be part of the climate change talking points of the president. Itong pag-reduce ng carbon through the emissions by the internal combustion engines. We will include it in our agenda. We will attach these attachments so that the president will be aware of this and that we can promise you.
Salamat po. Salamat po. I really do appreciate that. Kasi from my perspective, there's also many business opportunities for you, for the organization when the right time comes. Our estimate, in as far as servicing is concerned, we need 6,000 service providers all over the country to service 12 million vehicles.
12 million vehicles. Okay.
12 million vehicles. So there's a lot of business opportunities. Not only
3,000 providers. 6,000 providers. Okay. Take note mo Camilo. 6,000 providers all over the country.
That's employment. That's employment.
Servers.
Well, employment opportunities will be somewhere between 15 to 20,000. And these are the people, the underprivileged people. The skilled worker people.
Yes.
The people that doesn't have a certificate of diploma with a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
They can be trained.
The underprivileged.
They can be trained easily.
Yes.
Yung mga TESDA graduates natin.
Yes po.
Simple lang,
Men and women alike.
Simple lang.
So that, if you will look at this in a much bigger picture, when I mentioned earlier about corporate social responsibility,
Yeah, CSR.
you might, the organization might benefit from that through the foundation. I
The
will be the
foundation.
one to create.
You're creating a foundation.
Of course, I have to.
And then, of course, the corporation that you...
There will be benefactors.
And then it has CSR responsibilities. Under
Yes.
our present laws, 20% of the present corporate laws in our
Yeah.
country, the 20% should be spent on social
It
responsibility.
should be contributed to,
Oh, contributed to.
not
Okay.
spent.
Okay.
It's a contribution. And for us to enjoy tax holiday.
Okay.
Yun lang po. Maraming
Yan.
salamat. At least everything is so clear.
Okay.
And
I invite you to a little prayer.
sige po, sige po.
I'm not asked whether you are Christians or not. Pero, Heavenly Father, maraming salamat po sa pagdating nitong aming mga kasama mula pa sa Estados Unidos. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ito nagkausap kami. Maraming salamat po at nagtugma ang aming pananaw na kailangan tuluan ng lipunang Pilipino at ang sabayan ng Pilipino sa kanilang paghihirap sa kasalukuyan. Patatagin mo po, Panginoon, ang paninindigan at patalasin mo po ang isip ng bawat isa sa amin upang sama-sama kaming magtutulungan para sa pag-unlad ng aming sambayanang Pilipino. Maraming salamat sa Panginoon sa pamamagitan ng iyong anak ng aming Panginoon si Kristo. Amen.
Amen.
O may kopya kami